Hi guys, welcome to the GameStormers. So, No Man's Sky. We've been anticipating it for a while. We did a video earlier talking about, what we thought the game was going to be like, about a month or a bit ago.
Yeah, right about.
Game's out now. We've both played it, dropped a few hours in it. Let's talk about it. I think the first part of the game, like that first probably the first 10, even 15 hours of playing, was amazing. It was almost exactly what I thought the game should be like.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that first experience of the game was exactly what I was looking for. I started, there was a starship that was right next to me. It wasn't working. I didn't know how I got here. I had no concept of what was going on, which was cool. And it didn't really hold my hand too much. It just said to me that I have to try and fix my ship.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And you're like, yes, I do.
I was like, all right, that makes sense. I was going to try and do that anyways, but that's a great point.
Thanks for the direction, yeah.
And then it sort of, if I got into the ship, it would show me the resources that I would need to do that, but not tell me how to get them or what they would be. Yeah. Which was cool.
Yeah, like you felt like you were just thrust into this and you really felt like you had to fend for yourself. I remember my first experience, so yeah, you sort of have that sort of cinematic checking out your surroundings and I'm like, wow, all right, I wonder if this is a starting planet or if I'm my own planet. So yeah, I began by just sort of checking out my surroundings, just like a little patch of about, say, I don't know, 50 meters by 50 meters. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty big place. Then I walked over to a cliff and looked over and it was just land. There was like stuff everywhere and I'm like, oh my God. I know this is just one planet. And
like, how did that feel?
Oh, it was overwhelming, man. Like, I couldn't believe that this was just one of like quintillions. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, there's going to be a lot of time exploring these things. Yeah.
And that was the thing, like, that knowledge that the game had so much to offer in terms of physical locations was amazing. Like, you're on this planet. I spent probably about 2.5 hours on my starting planet just exploring, finding out what the resources were, trying to find creatures, trying to work out how to interact with them, killing sentinels by accident, and then realizing that, okay, now I have to actually kill them, and all those sorts of things. Working out how the life support systems work. The planet that I started on had a pretty high radiation level, so I had to constantly recharge my suit. So that was awesome, yeah? Like, that was what I wanted. I felt like I was constantly having to monitor things, make sure that I was surviving, trying to bring things back to the ship because I couldn't hold enough stuff. So I had to get things back, drop it off, keep going back out, repair things, and that was amazing. Like, that was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then that first time when you fixed the ship and you took off.
Oh, man.
And you broke the atmosphere, and all of a sudden there's just rocks in the air, meteors, there's other planets, there's a space station that you can go to, which I had no idea about, so that was awesome. Yeah. So I made a beeline straight for the space station.
That's cool.
Which was pretty cool. What did you do when you went into space for the first time?
Same thing. Yeah. Like, I just went out to space and said space station. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
Yes, please.
Yeah. And I was really hoping to run into other players, but I knew that wasn't a reality. Yeah. Like, we knew that bubble had already been burst within the first hour of people playing the game. So, I mean, for people that haven't played No Man's Sky or are just starting off, you need to realize that it's a single player game. We thought, and we've discussed on other episodes, that we thought it was going to be more multiplayer. It's single player. It's single player, but other people can name planets. Yeah. I'm sure in the future they're going to expand that, but right now that's the reality of the experience you're going to get.
That's where it is, yeah.
So as long as you're happy to play a single player campaign, which really, this game's actually probably better suited to that, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what you're going to get. So, okay. So, vast.
Yep.
Beautiful looking, actually. We're not talking high-end textures, and we know we're gonna just put to the side the fact that the frame rate is just dismal. I've got a pretty high-end gaming laptop and it was dropping to like 11 frames per second very frequently. Yeah. Even on my desktop behemoth, I can't get a steady 60 frames per second. So clearly we know that that's a massive issue and they're gonna have to work on that. But putting that aside, it looked great.
It did. Yeah, it had a lot of character to it. Not like, you know, high fidelity, but you know, the atmosphere and just the way everything was laid out, like it was fantastic. Like just the color palette as well, and that sort of like almost like a sepia tone that it's got.
Yeah.
It's got like some sort of filter, and it's just, yeah, it really gives you that sort of sci-fi feeling of an alien world, no matter where you are. So.
And each planet had its own feel and personality to it. Like I landed on a planet that I've named Wacky Earth, and every single creature was kind of weird. Like there was an upside down crab, there was one that I've called basically bunny balls, which was bouncing around. I'll try and get that up on the screen behind us, that was hilarious. You know, that planet was very vibrant, very blue, very natural sky, real looking trees, like that.
Yeah.
And then I went to another planet, which I named, I think, Desolata or something like that. And that was essentially like flying into a lava pit. And there was no life on it, on
Just
that planet. Which was
like a
interesting.
dead planet, pretty much.
Just a dead planet.
Wow.
So the contrast was amazing.
Yeah.
And these were
yeah.
both within the same landing point.
Sheesh. That
So-
would have felt awesome.
That was cool.
Going from this like really lush, like alive planet to this,
Yeah.
like, you know, was there actual lava on there?
It just looked like it. Like everything was red. I don't know, but
gotcha.
everything was red because I couldn't get down to it.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting. So
Yeah.
that was still within that first probably 10 hours when I was really immersed.
yeah.
Now I guess, all right, we've faffed over the game and all the stuff that we like about it. Let's move on to the clear problems, because there's many. So I don't know when your breaking point was, but my breaking point was probably after the 15 hours, and it probably could have been before that, but I was so immersed with the concept that I sort of forgave the game for a lot of its shortcomings.
Yeah. Yeah. You sort of like give it some leeway.
But I'm going to burst a few bubbles. So after a while, the game becomes very repetitive. You know what your key resources are going to look like. Plutonium always looks the same. You can always identify what iron objects are going to be. Carbon is going to be basically a plant life
Anything
form,
alive, yeah.
which makes sense. And you're going to have these rocky deposits that don't respond to the physics of the world properly, which is something that was really irritating you. You'll find a big pile of gold, you'll shoot out the bottom of it, and then the rest will just float there, which kind of feels a bit cheap compared to the effort that's gone into making everything else look so interesting.
Yeah, exactly right. Just sort of like, it really broke that immersion for me.
Yeah. And just the fact that the gold is just there.
Yeah.
Like it should be built into the rocks, and you got to blast a few things away. Like there's
Make it
more they
cavern
could have done.
almost,
There. Yeah. You don't see nearly as much wildlife running around as we did in the preview trailers,
Oh man, don't bring up the preview trailers.
which is disappointing. Yeah. Multiplayer is non-existent. The areas in which you can land, I feel like there's about 6 of them, and they just get littered on every planet. So you'll have like a depot, or there'll be a observatory, or there'll be like a transmission tower, and they just recycled. And so whilst you're going to these different planets, like one's lava and one's essentially Earth, when you land there, the buildings are the same.
Like what's on them is pretty much just copied and pasted.
Yeah,
from
and
planet to planet.
they've got different texture packs based on whether you're on a Gek planet or an Atlas planet, or those sorts of things, which is cool and made it more immersive for a while. But
the functionality and essentially what they are is the same thing. Like that's what broke it for me. I think on my 3rd planet. So on my first planet, there was obviously like iron, carbon, and then just minerals jutting out of the ground.
Yeah.
Went to my 2nd planet, and there was like different minerals jutting out of the ground. I got some like emerald or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So there's different things in different places, but I still got like my iron and carbon stuff.
But I feel like that's a staple of the game. You kind of need that to play. But no, I know what you mean. I did like that you might find platinum on one planet and emerald on another planet, and like that was cool. Like it forces you to travel between planets. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But I just feel the game is not varied enough, which is ironic based on how varied the game actually is.
Yeah, exactly right. I think it's just that everything looks so different. Like when I was scanning through all the stuff, and I was like, wow, there's so many different sort of. I was like, there's so many different things, but then after a while, I was like, there's so many different skins for the same crap.
Exactly.
And it was like, wow. All right.
Even the creatures, like the game trailers sort of showed. Lots of aggressive creatures, massive aggressive creatures and stuff like that have sort of taken over the entire planet, and that didn't exist either.
Yeah.
Like I've actually only encountered maybe 2 or 3 hostile animals, and I took them out with my mining beam. Like, it wasn't
really a threat, was it?
like I was surprised the first time it happened because it just hadn't happened, and that was kind of cool. I was like, oh geez, I'm getting attacked by this thing. But then I took it out, and that was kind of it. Like, I couldn't even collect anything off them. Like, there was no benefit to doing it. It just felt...
It was an unfulfilling experience.
It just felt unfinished.
Yeah. So it was pretty sad, actually. I was like, big open plain, and then there was like a rocky, just a thing jutting out of the ground. It looked like half of a donut. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fly through that, bitch.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's get into it.
Lilac was it?
Yeah, and I was like gonna get those silver or gold rings. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. So I sped up and like tried to go under it. And like it was here, and I like went under, and then my ship just sort of like jutted up and went over it. I'm like, what happened with the thing? And what happened with the good feelings in my heart that are now gone?
That's right. I had such hope.
Yeah.
Actually, I've noticed that with flying near the planets. Because like sometimes I'll see observatory or something, and I want to get closer to see if there's anything there that I can that's worth me landing for.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many of them now, and I'll get close, and then the game won't let me slow down enough that I can actually
Like
sort
have
of
a
do a
look.
pass.
Yeah.
And I can only get like, if this is where I want to be, I can only get here.
And let you like look nose down to look.
Yeah, like it's very hand holding and like not letting you put yourself in peril, I guess, which it should do.
Absolutely, you should be like risk. It's like risk versus reward. You can risk going through half donuts or checking out observatories, but you may die. You may just be straight up dead.
which is completely fair.
Yeah, absolutely. But imagine how good and dynamic that would feel. Like just doing loops and shit around the planet and like doing low passes over landscapes.
Yeah.
You'd feel like you're in the game, but at the moment you feel like you're on a tour bus.
Yeah,
I'm like, ding! I'd like to get off here, please. Thanks.
Yeah, and like even being able to like those big gold things that are jutting out of the ground for no reason, even being able to fly low enough that I can actually take those out.
Yeah, I tried shooting, nothing happened.
So there was a big aluminium deposit,
Yep.
and it was actually quite high up, which meant that I could get close in and still try and shoot at it. And I had been on this planet for about an hour. You'll be disappointed.
Oh, I'm ready.
So I'd been on this planet for about an hour. So I flew, and it was still like on my screen. It was fully formed, awesome, ready to go. Flew in, got closer to it, charged my lasers in my mind because they're already charged. Went to attack it, and when I got close enough that it actually clipped in for the textures, I'd already been there. So I'd already been there, and I'd already mined it, and
No
it
way.
actually wasn't there. So it's like Google Maps. Like I zoomed in further, and my house was gone. Which is not good yet. So I was flying around, and I was like, sweet, check out this deposit. This is fantastic. And I flew in to get it, and I'd already mined it. I'd already jumped out of the plane and mined it before. So just things like that shouldn't happen. Like you just shouldn't see issues like that. And the storyline seems to be not non-existent because I've only played it for maybe 40 hours, which is quite a bit, but I haven't really come across major storyline developments. The other thing that irritates me is, when you run into characters,
Yeah.
which is kind of exciting. Yeah, like the first few times I ran into aliens in buildings, I was like, "This is sweet."
Another person?
Yeah,
What?
like this is so cool, and it does like a little cutscene, and you see them, and they sort of like they see you sort of being. That's the noise they make. So the first time you talk to them,
Yes,
they
you're
have
right.
something for you to solve. But the problem is that they're always within the exact same expression. There's no context to what they're doing. So I had one where they were working on an experiment, and I had to choose the right answer. And obviously your knowledge of their language, because you can learn individual words and eventually build up sentences, will help you decipher what they're trying to ask you. That as a concept is awesome. I actually really love that. It's probably my favorite mechanic of the game.
Yeah.
However, the aliens in one of the generic buildings that we've seen 50 times already, he looks generic, or she looks generic, or whatever it is looks generic. And when I solve the puzzle, there's no context to it. And then when I talk to them the next time, they just go to their generic NPC conversation. There's no reference to what previously happened. So there's a lot of opportunity to do more with that. So let's go into our next part of this conversation. What No Man's Sky could have been. So this is an open letter to the developers. There's so much more that can be done.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would love to see, I land on a planet, I go into one of the generic buildings. Obviously there should be more variation in the buildings. I'd like to see larger complexes with more aliens in them,
Yeah.
just for a start. And this could be amazing. Perhaps aliens walking around rather than, just being in static locations. Maybe even alien vehicles or alien cities.
Yeah.
Where they're going about their business and you can see what they're doing, which is kind of interesting. But what I would love to see as a starting point to all of that, I go into one of the generic buildings, we've accepted that that's there, I talk to one of the aliens, and they ask me to do something to help another one of the aliens on the same planet. Just something as basic as that. Hey mate, I really need you to send 100 carbon to this guy over here because his life support is failing and you've got 5 minutes to do it. I know he's roughly around here. Just something like that where there's little mini quests and they don't have to be contextual to the entire game, but they can be contextual to that planet. So I feel like there's more for me to do on the planet rather than just aimlessly go around and continuously finding plutonium so that I can take off my ship.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty sweet actually, especially because not knowing their language, he could ask you for it and then mark it on your map. And you can just be like, well...
Yeah, like I kind of
I want to go check out what's on the map, and then it turns out you haven't got carbon, and you're like, shit, you have to go find it.
Yeah, like that would actually be really interesting. It would just add another layer to it.
Yeah.
And it would give you a purpose other than just solving the one-off interactions you get with each person to learn the languages.
Yeah.
Gives you more of a reason to seek out that knowledge. So just that's a starting point.
Yeah,
I think that would add value to the game, even if it ended up being that the guy asks you to get something that can only be found on another planet in the system.
That'd be sick.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I don't like fetch quests though, but
I know, but
at least it'd give you some sort of
like it doesn't have to be a fetch
it.
quest. It could be. I mean, we know that most RPGs are made up of like 3 or 4 basic quests.
Yeah.
It could be kill this, get this, do this, say this. It's the same stuff in every game.
Something more. Yeah.
The way they implement it could be more, I guess.
I agree.
So that's one thing I think that could be added.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think sort of comes under the title of breathing life into the universe. Like feeling that there are other things rather than you and a couple of little like scampering abominations around.
And another thing about alien life forms, it's awesome to land on planets and the creatures are varied. That's really cool. But I feel like it'd be nice if, even if it's like 1 in every 15 planets, you land on and there's some form of intelligent life that isn't one of the 3 major groups that have sort of taken over the entire universe.
Yeah.
Like you find someone that's sort of like humanish. They don't have to be like bipod. They could be just their own type of advanced life form, and they have taken over their planet. And they have their own little cities and infrastructures and things like that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. If I land on a planet, I'm like, oh my god, like what's this?
There's like prehistoric.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
They get different modes of transport. Like I know we're asking a lot, but that sort of thing could be really interesting and add a lot of value to the game.
That'd be so exciting. Or like even different biomes on the planets. Like I've seen there's some caves and stuff like that, which is cool. But like maybe forested areas and stuff like that. Or half the planet could be forest or something like dense forest, and you can be like, hell yeah, man! Like this is so much carbon. I don't know what to do with it all.
Yeah.
Or there might be something in the middle, or just more varied areas per planet. Like I think I even went to a planet with water for the first time. And I was like, oh, cool, water. Went under the sea. Maybe think of Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I was going to so I went under there, and I was just like, the screen changed slightly, and there was some different life under there, but it was still just iron and carbon.
Yeah.
And nothing was
But
added.
I feel like the whole game's just going to be full of iron and carbon. I kind of accept that because I guess you need those staples to charge your health and armor.
The mainstays,
And that's going to be like a generic thing. That's cool. As long as the things that you collect them from are varied, which I believe they are. Like they've done that fairly well. But I agree with you, like I've landed on a planet that was mostly water and it was really interesting, but the entire planet was like that.
Yeah.
So it would be cool if...
giant volcano.
we haven't seen a planet that has continents yet. I haven't.
Neither have I.
Where you've
Is
got,
there?
I don't know. Where there's like a separate landmass, lots of water, then another big landmass. I haven't seen that yet.
It'd be hard to do.
Like Earth.
Yeah.
So there's been nothing like that, which is kind of, I'd like to see those sorts of things as well. All right, so we'll move away from NPCs. We'll move away from wildlife. What else? What about in space? I feel like there's probably a few opportunities there as well.
Yeah. I feel like space is obviously vast, which is good.
They've done that tick perfectly. Like when you go into the hyperdrive,
Like the star map sort of thing,
and you zoom out in free explore,
God,
wow, that part of the game is phenomenal. But when I'm just flying around in the system that I'm in, they made a few promises that they haven't actually kept. So for example, we're meant to be able to, if we choose to, which would be insane, but if we choose to, you're meant to be able to not use hyperdrive and actually fly out of the system you're in to another system. But you can't do that. So people have tested it, and you clip out and it glitches the whole game, and you can't do that. But we were told that you could do that.
Yeah.
So you don't have that free exploration. You've really zapped into a new sandbox every time, and then you have to get zapped into another one. It's the only way to get to the next place. You don't have the option
It'll
of...
load the area rather than having that area load.
Yeah. So you actually are loading new maps every time, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But also, one thing that really got me, because I tried to pull the Barry and explore all the things, because Barry's really good at being intricate with these things.
Love to be thorough, yep.
Which is good. That's a cool thing to do. So I went up to some trade vessels walked in, and I was like, awesome, trade vessels have walked in.
Oh yeah, yep.
And so I flew up to them thinking that I'd be able to, trade with them, maybe get some exotic things from different planets, and I couldn't.
Nothing?
Couldn't do anything with them. They just flew in. The only option I had was to attack them. And all I could do was shoot down their cargo doors, and I assumed some things would fly out, but I didn't want to do that because I'm trying to be a passive, nice explorer. And
so kind of you.
Yeah, and I find whenever they zap in, I actually don't want to be near them, because if I'm near them, then generally there will be an attack on them by space pirates, and then I have to help out and attack them and risk me dying. But that's the only thing that happens. I should be able to land, meet different creatures that are exploring as well, and purchase things off them and sell my wares. That would be where it would be cool to have. I picked up some emerald, and the planet they came from, or the galaxy they came from, doesn't have emerald, so they're willing to pay more for it.
And they've got a whole heap of, say, iridium or something like that.
Yeah, and I can barter, and we can do trades, and
And since it's so one-off, since there's not a trade vessel in every system, you'd be like, oh shit, trade vessel. Let's see what
let's try and get towards them. Yeah, and then
excitement around
and that'd give me an incentive to protect them, because then I can get a better deal with them or something like that.
Yeah, thanks for saving me. Here's a discount. So something I would have liked to see was, say, when you're in the star map and you're checking out all the galaxies and stuff, if there was some sort of galaxy-wide, not galaxy-wide, but system-wide scan you could do that scans the systems around you, and you could detect, say, a floating space hulk or a derelict spaceship, and you could just go there, fly over to it, dock in it, and explore its cargo, or see what happened to it. Add a bit of intrigue and some natural. I think that's what this game really is lacking after the first 10 to 15 hours. That feeling of discovery and being excited about what you see. That's
true. I think you've hit it on the nail. When we start hyperdriving quite a bit. For me anyways, I feel a bit there's a disincentive to land on every single planet. It's a hassle rather than it's a chore rather than being excited to see what's there. Exactly. So they need to do something to address that. I should want to land on every planet, and I should want to go to every area. Now the only task that I'm aware of is that I should try and get to the center of the universe. And so if I'm playing the game like a logical game player, one that wants to complete the game, then all I should really be doing is focusing on getting warp cells, putting them in my hyperdrive, making my hyperdrive better, and just zapping as fast as I can to the center of the universe. Yeah, exactly right. Which, I shouldn't want to do that. I should know that I have to do that, but I should want to do everything else. Yeah. And so it would be so cool to deviate from my path. Yeah. To go to a massive hulking space thing that's been broken into by aliens, and it's all broken down, and I want to go there to find some secret technology. Yeah. That'd be awesome. I think the game kind of gives out technologies a bit too easily. I can just go to a planet, stay there for 20 minutes, and just keep killing sentinels, and it just gives me random technologies, sometimes quite advanced technologies. I should only be able to get really advanced technologies by going into these dangerous situations. Maybe there's actually hostile aliens there. That hasn't actually really happened yet. How cool would it be if you land on that planet, land on that space hulk, I explore for a bit, I open up a chamber, and all of a sudden this alarm goes off, and all these crawling aliens are coming on the walls, coming at me. Oh, that'd be sick. That'd be amazing. It'd just be something new in the game, and then my reward for battling it through all of that. And I know the game's not meant to be a combat-based game, but you can have elements of that. Even movies, for example, that aren't combat-based still have elements of fear and suspense, and there is a bit of a battle that does happen. I've watched a few space movies where they do that. They find a derelict spaceship, and they have to go in there and try and, you know, recover the technology that they need to further themselves.
Yeah.
And it's all very dangerous and daunting. That would be awesome. That is a fantastic idea. You guys need to do that. If you do nothing else, that's actually easy to do, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, they already have the textures and stuff. They could just basically turn one of those cargo ships into a bigger ship, make it landinable.
Smash some holes in it, and
Yeah.
bam, and bam, yeah?
That'd be so cool.
Man, it'd be so exciting. Even if it wasn't combat based, it was just literally a derelict
Yeah, it
ship.
could just
Everyone
be
was
exploration,
dead.
yeah.
And there was like, you had to like learn from its logs or something like that, and like find the password to get into this cargo.
Yeah, that'd be
thing.
cool. Like, more story elements like that, where you can find a terminal, get some information, take that to another terminal, put it in, unlock a door, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Not just having Atlas passes with no context to doors that I can't unlock that I'll never go back to.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was
those
missed out.
sort-
And you don't even care because there's so much more.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll just find another one, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly right.
That would be cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm excited to play that version of the game. It doesn't even exist. Oh my
It's
god.
currently in development by Barry Studios.
Barry
so-
Studios. That is, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet. It'd just give you so much more excitement. Like, imagine that you're in the space thing, you're in your star map, you press scan, and you're like, all right, system. Ooh, what is
What's
that?
this? Yeah.
Holy shit!
And it doesn't tell you what it is, and you have to go find out, and you have to make the decision.
It's just like a blip on the map, and you're like, it could be anything.
You're
It
like,
could be
do
like,
I keep going down my path, or do I go? And like, that's what the game is. Do I keep pursuing the path to the center of the universe, or do I deviate and find out what the hell that blip is?
yeah, exactly. Because it could be like, you know, a space pirate trap. They've
Yeah.
put up a beacon or something like that, and you just go there and you get killed.
Yeah, distress
Could be
beacon,
anything.
like a false distress beacon. That would be cool.
How sick would that be? Yeah, like that's what it's. That still falls under that living, breathing universe because people would try shit like that. You know, they don't like pirates. Don't just jump into a system and scan for cargo.
Yeah.
they're going to be more cunning than that, and with that sort of crap. So
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think if the game can, you're right, what it really boils down to, and I think all of the suggestions we've made are really just making this universe feel more active and less alone. And I know that the game's called No Man's Sky, and the purpose of that title is to basically insinuate that you're one of the first people going to this planet, and you're the first person discovering it, and all that sort of stuff. That's interesting, but there needs to be that element of activity. That's it, in a word. When you go down to a planet, things are happening. Not just animals running around, not really doing anything. Things are actually happening.
yeah,
What if another spaceship comes in and starts shooting up the gold that you're trying to capture?
yeah, like
you know,
bitch, get off my turf.
you're like, what are you doing, man? And then you can like make the decision to get into your ship and take him out.
Yeah.
And then steal his shit. Like, there's just so much more the game could do.
How cool would it be if that started happening and you try and initiate communication and they're a geck and you haven't got all the words,
Yes.
and then they take it as a hostile action.
Yeah,
and
and
start
you
shooting
actually
you. And you're
literally-
like, oh my god.
And you don't know how to tell them to stand down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm giving myself goosebumps about this game.
This is the thing. No Man's Sky 2.0 could be awesome. And look, we were talking about this before we started doing the video, and we know that it's an indie team, and we know that what they've done is objectively
it's
amazing.
phenomenal. Like such a massive scope for
Yeah.
such a small team. It's a landmark.
It's very impressive, and we've been waiting for this game for so long, and the fact that we've maintained our interest in it for so long shows that it is a good game.
Yeah.
I'll still be playing it after this, despite all the pitfalls, but there just needs to be a lot more. I think that my interest is going to wear off fairly soon, and I don't want it to.
Yeah, neither do I. I want to be immersed.
I really want more, and I think that they have the opportunity to add more now that the game's out, now that people are playing it, everyone's throwing in their suggestions. They are active. They've already posted 3 updates for the PC version since it's come out, so
Good on them.
we know that they want to do more. I think they just need to step it up and get it done more quickly.
Like sort of step back, collate the feedback they've gotten from everyone, really, see where it's lacking and work on it. Like they were talking about base building and stuff, weren't they?
Yeah, actually that's an interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's counterintuitive to the entire game.
Yeah, you were saying before, like
Yeah.
the whole idea of when you visit a planet and it's pretty much just a throwaway planet, you just get resources and you piss off. When you make a base, why would you want to anchor yourself to one planet if there are so many others out there? Like, what's going to make you want to go back to that planet?
Yeah, it seems to be in complete contradiction of the concept of the game, which is exploration.
Get to the center of the universe, but also make a base.
Yeah.
Halfway there.
Yeah,
So go to the middle and go back to your base at some point.
Like
Unless it's like a fast travel or something.
but then that ruins the game as well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Fallout 4 base building kind of makes sense. Like you get a population, you bring them all into your center, you build more beds so that more people can come in, you put defenses in. Like, that makes sense because the game is a limited space. But in a game like this where there's so many planets that you'll never see all of them, I'd want to see as many as I can.
Yeah.
So why would I want to set up home somewhere? What would be cool is if you could build a base station.
Oh, stop it.
That you could zap in. So think of like Battlestar Galactica, for example. Imagine if you're just one of the little ships flying out to the planet, but you've got your Battlestar, and you take that with you to each location and you can build within that. That's freaking awesome. That's what they should be doing.
Can we do that, please? That sounds absolutely
Isn't
amazing.
That so much better?
Oh man! Obviously, like the warp drive would be slower for it because it's such a big.
But like you could basically change the game so that your little ship can't warp anymore, but your big one can. And so you got to
like
get back in,
for you, and then
it's your carrier, then you go.
Oh, stop it!
And then
stop
you could bring that
nonsense.
multiplayer element into it, where other people could dock into your carrier, and you can all hyperdrive at the same time. This stuff, isn't it cool?
Holy shit! I'm so excited, and it doesn't exist.
But you would think that logically you would work on something like that, where the base building, because the base building element, it makes sense. You're going out and collecting resources. You could build some things. I get it. But putting it onto the scope of being able to build something on a planet, I don't think adds value to the game. I personally think that it goes in a direction that doesn't complement the game. I didn't buy this game to play Minecraft. That already exists.
Yeah.
I bought this game to fly around the universe and try and discover new cultures and new planets and new animals. And building a base is not going to complement that.
You're exactly right. It's not congruent with the goal of the game. Like, you're supposed to be, transient. You're supposed to always be on the move, checking out new things, not anchor yourself to one planet and stay around that system, because what's the point?
But you could do that in a lovely new Battlestar.
Ooh, dang.
That's a cool idea.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and imagine that you could make your trade hub the best, and you could have like massive docking areas, and you could become renowned. Like, hey, like, check out this.
That's a good point, actually. The bigger and more powerful your ship is, we're getting excited now on a game.
Building ideas
on a game mechanic that doesn't exist. But yeah, you could build up your location so that you have more docking areas, so you can have traders coming in. You could even have them. You could basically. All right, here's cool. This is cool. I think.
Even more cool, Chris.
All right, so you got your ship. You fly down to the planet. You collect some emerald. You fly back up, drop it off to your base station. That acts as a trading port. So then you go off to the other planet. While you're doing that, the people in your base station are slowly trading off the emerald to the other people that are coming in. You come back, you've made a bit of money, you make some more upgrades, you go back out. Awesome.
That's just insane.
There's just so many things that they can do with this game, and I hope they do at least some of them. And I hope they don't focus on things that I guess people that don't understand the game are asking for. Like, I don't know where the base building came from. I don't know if people asked them for that or whether they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I hope they didn't decide to do it by themselves, because I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah.
If people are asking for it, fair enough. If that's going to make more revenue for them so they can work on the game, let it happen.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that it should be there.
Yeah. It's a tough one, and they can't really dictate on what part of the fan base they listen to, you know? Like, it could be 60% of the people who just like the idea of flying around and making a base somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh, most of the people like it. Yeah. Most of the people want it, sure. And then the 40% are like, that's not what this game's about.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a real tough one on their part.
But I think they need to make it true to the original concept of the game.
Yeah. So just because this game's released doesn't mean it's the end of development.
That's true.
It shouldn't be the way it is. It shouldn't sort of be released half-baked. But I've still got hope for it because, yeah, the developers are still working hard on it. Hopefully we'll get a lot of that feedback and develop it more into what everyone hopes it'll be.
Yeah.
Or what it was in the 2014 E3 demo.
Well, this is the thing. I feel like they had the opportunity to release it the way it should have been released. You shouldn't have 11 frames per second on PC. Like, you shouldn't have someone running a gaming computer like me having the settings on absolute lowest and the game still runs like crap with memory leaking issues and clipping issues. Like, I got stuck in my plane in a rock and it killed me. Like, I couldn't get out of it. Like, just little things like that. And people had been reporting corrupted save files, being stuck in the ground. Like, that stuff's a bit crap. They have acted on most of it, which is good, but they probably should have playtested this, which I know they did, before releasing it. So I know with a game this scale there's always going to be issues, but yeah, I just hope that the next few updates add a few of these elements that we're hoping to see and really build on what I think is a great base to what could be an amazing game.
Yeah.
But right now, if I had to give it a rating, it wouldn't be high enough for me to actually verbalize it on camera, I don't think. It looks amazing, it plays okay. The variety isn't there at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. What would you like to see in the game? Chuck a few comments below. I'd really love to see your concepts for the game. Maybe we can all together develop an ideal version of what this game could be. I think some of the stuff we've talked about is pretty cool, but I know that due to the fact that it's a game in a universe, you guys have got to have some cool ideas for the game. So throw a few comments below, we'll start a bit of a discussion, and we'll see you next time on the GameStormers.
Hey. See ya.
Okay, so there's spike traps now. Or sword traps actually look like.
Look at him. Look at that little guy. Thank you, friend.
Come here. Oh wow, look at this. Jeez, your friend really helped out there. Okay, you sort of like